Hello and welcome, and what a treat and pleasure to be here. I want to talk about an attitude of gratitude. Now, one of the most profound teachers of gratitude for me was my grandfather. And there was a specific time when I really recognized this was a man that I needed to start paying attention to. It was late in his life, actually. It was right after my grandmother died. And I went to go visit him. And he was a minister. He'd helped thousands of people go through transition. But this was his partner of 55 years, as well as his driver everywhere around the city, since he hadn't had a license for a while. And so I really wasn't sure how he was going to be handling this massive transition. And so I kind of went to go see him, really cautiously. And I walked into his room and I said, "Hey, how you doing, Grandpa?" And he said, "Did you know for $4 I can get a shuttle anywhere in the city?" And I was like, "No way." And he said, "Yeah." So I went down to Save On with a list in my hand. I went to the woman behind the counter and I said, "Excuse me, my wife has recently changed her residence to heaven. I was wondering if you could help me find a few things." And I was like, "Man, Grandpa, you always help me see the glass is half full." And he leaned back and he looked me in the eyes and he said, "It's a beautiful glass." That's the gratitude I'm talking about. That is the level of gratitude that can transform your life. It's actually more than gratitude. I would call it a sense of pronoia. Do you know the term pronoia? You know the term paranoia? Who said that? Did they send you? Who sent you here? Pronoia is the belief that the universe is conspiring in your favor. I love this idea. The idea that if you surrender, awesome things are happening, awesome things are happening, awesome things are happening. We get so focused on the negative things. We get so focused on the few things that are broken. In a world where our planet is perfectly positioned from a star, in the planet where we have a wobble so that we get seasons, where we have these biospheres perfectly balanced, where we have perfect gases, and we have there's just so many things that are going right. Our bodies are constantly battling invaders on a microscopic level, constantly healing and regenerating, constantly the forces that are working to try to make everything work out for us without any thought. If we just sit, the way the universe is working is helping us. I love that. The problem is, that's not the way our culture works. Well, it's not the way we think. And so, as a culture, we start to focus on the tiny percentage of things that are not going right. If you look at the news, we define news as what's broken, what happened terribly, what went awry. Now, that doesn't have to be the way you see the world. That doesn't have to be the way that you consider the news to be. But we culturally tend to focus on that. And in fact, if you ever go to a new job, the water cooler conversation is almost always complaining. It's almost always focusing on the negative. It's almost always bringing attention to the things that suck. What happens when we do that is we end up totally distorting our baseline. And so this pronoic truth that tons of things are going right for us, even if we lived, underneath an overpass or in a grass hut, the number of things that are going perfect for us just for being on this planet are amazing. But then if you look at all the amazing things that have happened technologically, with medicine, with electronic doodads, you would think that we would be in a constant state of wow, 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 wow. But that's not what happens. In fact, when they do studies of people, it turned out that people are less happy than they used to be. They have less free time with all this stuff. How is that possible? Well, there's a few reasons, I think. One is that living blissfully and joyfully and feeling content and abundant just for the fact that you're alive doesn't work well with a commercial system. It doesn't support the economic system that we have bought into. So there is the media system, the messaging that we get bombarded with, our education system. There's nothing about the existing status quo that is served by teaching us how awesome things are. On the other hand, if we're constantly reminded of what we need and what is lacking and what is broken and what we're not good at, then that puts us into a state of consumer. That puts us in the state of striving. I'll be happy once I'll finally be okay when I finally, my knees are not so ashy. Then, I'll finally be desirable and I'll find my perfect mate, and then I'll be happy. All the while being flooded with gifts. So, it's really remarkable. There's an awesome movement going on right now, the Clean Water Program, and actually at the UC's church, they did a program recently about someone who was digging wells in Sudan, and I always go back to water as one of the things that snaps me back into, resets my baseline, and allows me to really see, oh my gosh! In many places in the world, people will spend their entire day walking to drinkable water and then bringing it back to their village and their family. And the water that they consider drinkable, we would not even touch to our lips. Water being so precious, so important, such a gift that people work so hard carrying it. Try to carry the amount of water that you use in a day. While this is happening all over the world, at the same time, we have bowls of drinkable water in our homes, sitting there, waiting for us to defecate in it. What? People will be blown away. And who here took a shower in the last 48 hours? Did water shoot out of your wall when you hit a button? And then could you just adjust the temperature so that it was just the right temperature for you? Throughout history, and most of the world now, would be blown away by the fact that this was a possibility. It is so commonplace to us that we don't even see it. We don't even appreciate it. We don't even notice it. Part of that is because of the messaging, trying to get us always to want something more. Part of it is just because we need to discipline our thoughts and constantly readjust our baseline. There was a trip I took to Costa Rica many years ago, and one of the tours that I went on with my father was a cloud forest tour, monkey something, and so one of the goals of this tour through the forest was to try to catch monkeys playing in their native habitat. And so we traveled and we were cruising through thick jungle, and we went to the first place that the guide thought there would be monkeys, and then they went to another place, and people were getting frustrated, and we were just walking. And at some point, I was frustrated too. At one point, I just kind of stopped, and I let the tour just kind of walk away down this path away from me, and I was just kind of being more and more isolated. And I looked down into the ground and just saw this richness on the floor, all the different leaves and the decaying things and little buds popping up, and I kind of just focused there on this 2 foot by 2 foot area of just how much was happening, how much life and death and decay and little bugs. And I got closer, and there's more little bugs. There's all sorts of there's a whole world in this 2 foot by, and all of it was just wow. And then I panned up. And as far as I can see in every direction is the thickest, luscious, most gorgeous jungle. Every bit as full of miracles as this 2 foot by 2 foot square. And I just had this flash, how much do we miss because we're chasing monkeys? How many miracles are with us every moment of every day that we don't even see because we get convinced because of the brochure or by our education or by our parents or whatever, that what we need to be looking for is monkeys. Monkeys are what's cool. Why are monkeys any cooler than This fern. If we snap in our baseline back down, then everything becomes a miracle. Everything becomes a gift. Now, maybe that's a little aggressive. Everything is a gift. Because life is got challenges as well. And sometimes I get accused of being a Pollyanna, and they're like, oh, you got your head in the sand, you know, how come you're so overly focused on the positive? You're not being realistic. To which I say, harumph. What's realistic is that the world is so rich. Our cosmos is so full. You know what? Let's just pack our planet. Our planet is so full of stuff, of experiences, of people, of opportunities, of books. There's a nearly infinite amount of things to experience. But there's a finite amount of time. It is critically important how you choose to focus your attention. It is not unrealistic to simply discipline yourself to choose the things you enjoy. Choose the things that feed your heart and your soul. Something that helps me, that is the way I visualize the world. And this is going to help you, so remember this. At every moment in your life, you're holding an ice cream cone and you've got one foot in dog doo-doo. Every moment in your life, there is dog crap on your shoe, there is a late payment, there is an ailment in your back, there is a kid who won't call you back, there is a project that's on your desk that you haven't done yet. And at every moment in your life, there is a child that said thank you, there is a new flower in the garden, there is a book that you can't wait to finish, there is, at every moment in your life, you're holding an ice cream cone and your foot is in dog doo-doo. What is tragic is that our media, our culture, so much of what we bond on is about the crap on our shoe. And so many people will set down their ice cream cone and go, oh my gosh, you have got to smell this stuff on my shoe. It is, you might have some dog doo on you, but my dog doo is so horrible, it smells, oh my gosh. Can we talk about my dog doo? Now notice that I'm not saying, oh, I'm spending an enormous amount of time cleaning off my shoe, because that is totally different. If you are working towards fixing, changing, aiding, decreasing the negative things in your life, that's a wonderful way to use your time and your energy and attention. But that's not what I see around the world so often. So often I see people simply stewing in it, simply talking about it, simply reminding themselves, like as if they should, it makes the world better. I'm being responsible by thinking about all the things that are broken. How is that being responsible? The universe, God, this existence is so full of riches. We should exalt them. We should celebrate them. We should pick up the ice cream cone, hold our foot as far away as possible, and just go, nom 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 nom. Thank you for this ice cream cone. What a treat! Do you have ice cream? You have ice cream? Tell me about your ice cream. I'll play. Oh, yeah, mine too. Oh, yeah. Do it. Just taste mine. Taste mine. So next time you're feeling frustrated, you're down, I guarantee at every moment there is a cone. It's very easy to feel like all you can think about is the dog doo. It's all crap. Crap or cone. Crap or cone. Crap or cone. When it seems all crap, where's my cone? I guarantee it's there. It could be the solution that you might eventually get to. It could be what's waiting for you if you surrender and get through this. It could be simply the knowledge, that knowing that you're doing what you have to do for your family. But there is a cone. And shifting that focus will increase the size of that cone. It will make it more abundant, more delicious, and it will make people flock to you that are also connoisseurs of ice cream. Now, the other thing that I did with my grandfather, after he told me that wonderful story about the glass, I said, you know what? I've been getting pretty good at this internet thing. Will you help me host a show on the internet called Hug Nation? And so once a week, we would get in front of our webcam and invite people all over the world to get in front of their webcam, and we would share a moment of connection. It started actually right after 9/11, when after 9/11 there was this, after the shock, there was a surge of camaraderie, and the whole world was like, it was hopeful. But very quickly, the media slipped into this story of us and them, us and them, us and them, which was so tragic because that was not my experience at all. When I traveled the world, I didn't feel like it was us and them. And with the internet, as it was growing, I was like, it's just us. It's just we. And so Hug Nation was this once a week gathering to remind each other that we're all much more alike than we are different. And the world would much rather hug you than hurt you. So, while Grandpa is no longer physically a part of Hug Nation, I would love it if we could finish here with a Hug Nation hug. So, grab yourselves by the shoulders. Just have some gratitude for this amazing body. This miracles upon miracles upon miracles living inside this skin. All the systems and organs, and it's just mind-blowing. Without any effort, without any thinking of us, we are healing, we are thriving, we are growing, we are rejuvenating. But this body is just a shell, just as our personality is just a shell. But deep down, we are as all people around the world are. Divine seeds, lights, truth, and love that has no desire but to shine, to live in truth, to be connected, and to be our purpose, which is loving beings in the world. And so for just a second, let's imagine all the people we've seen this week, all the people we've seen on TV or in our cars, all the people in the office, and look right through their physical shell. Look right through the personality and their to-do lists and their labels of what they got to try to do in their story, and just look right through that and see everyone as a bright beam of light, filled with the same desires for love, filled with the same fears, just part of a human family. So let's take a deep breath and just feel part of that family. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all the Love Warriors, happy Hug Nation. Thank you so much for being you and shining your light. I love you. Namaste.
You only live once. Enjoy the color.